Hi, Fashion Dolls. It is Motivation Monday, March 25th, and welcome to an all new episode of Style by Stevie. It feels great to be back. I had a great Sunday. I had to take my class to renew my cosmetology license. It was amazing. I had a great time. I got my hours and I passed. I'm super excited. I can't wait. So I am set. I'm super excited to see what is coming in the year 24 for beauty and fashion. Now, our very special guest today is no stranger to the dollhouse. He's already been on the show previously, and I'm super excited to have him back. Joining me as we welcome our guest, ladies and gentlemen, Arron Lloyd. Yeah, got good reflexes now.
There she is.
Hello, hello.
How you doing?
I am doing great. How are you, strangers? Been a minute. I've been following and catching up on what you've been up to. But the last interview that we did would have been last year, 2023.
I believe so, yeah.
So, yes, and it's great to have you back. So much has happened since then. So, how has 2024 been for you so far?
2024 has been such a blessing. I really got to say, there's a lot of things that I'm excited about. It's kind of like the analogy you make where a farmer plants something, a seed in the ground, takes a while, you have a little bud, and then you're reaping a harvest. So this year so far has been magical. I can't even cap, I can't even lie. It's just been great, and there's a lot of things to look forward to. And I'm not done. Like, I think that that's a challenge that a lot of people can kind of get into, is get content. So I'm happy I'm where I'm at, and I'm happy and grateful for where I'm at. And I'm also inspired and empowered to help others have the same kind of results in their lives as well.
And that you have, which we'll get into. Now,
Mhm.
we're in March. We are fixing to be in a whole new month. April, it is now officially spring. So, a lot is going to be coming up in the year 24 in the spring, a lot of award shows. And we've been seeing you do your thing, motivating and encouraging people on your podcast and your platform. I sent you a message one day and I said, why don't you start a YouTube channel?
Mhm.
Because you are like, you and Bo Emerson, both of you are both like a breath of fresh air. And we need it in these dark times. And I see you on the road encouraging people, standing up in front of crowds of people, motivating and encouraging them and giving them the tools that they need. And watching you also on your podcast as well, too, motivate and encourage and vice versa, back and forth, the exchange, how we're doing now.
Mhm.
That's amazing. So when did you decide to go and create the platform that we see you on?
That's a great question. It kind of happened, and it kind of just happened from my own needing that light. So my journey and foray into needing to be inspired and motivated comes from my background. I didn't really have much around me, and I did not use that as an excuse. Growing up, I mean, like growing up in the inner city and kind of things like that, just to give context. So I've always had a deep drive within myself to desire more. I want more. I think that the most tragic thing that any one of us can have happen is just not fulfilling your potential, not being all that you're created and called to be. So I've always felt like there was more than what my environment was, which was the inner city and things like that. So, cut to 25, really struggling, living in New York City, sleeping on the floor, jumping over turnstiles. And I wasn't beating people across the head. I wasn't robbing people. I wasn't selling drugs. I've been approached about doing all those things. I kind of wanted to stay on the straight and narrow and just do things the right way, the right way, right? So I started reading and started going to seminars and attending those. And through my own transformation, just getting to answer your question, is I started documenting that, started journaling that, starting through my own transformation. People start to ask, okay, well, what, what have you been doing? How have you been helping and things like that? And there's just, through that experience, I realized that there's things that people have always come to me for that come naturally to me that I thought everybody knew that people just don't sometimes. So, and you have that same gift, Miss Stevie, by the way. You have gifts and things that come naturally to you, that you are great at, that you are fantastic at, that come naturally that other people might need help with. So it really kind of started there. And it was uncomfortable too, by the way, sharing. Like, I'm not a social media person. I don't like posting on social media. It's not really my thing. I don't really care that much about it. And I came to a realization that exactly for what you said, the dark times, needing the impact, needing those things, it would be extremely selfish of me to not share what I have to share. So, yep.
And what I love about you is we've talked about this in I think our first or second interview, our conversation that we had. You've talked about loss, losing your parents, and you're transparent about that even on your podcast. And even some of my guests that I've had on this week have lost. Jawan Caulfield,
Yeah.
who I've had on, lost someone who was dear to him. And I'm pretty sure you caught that interview last week.
Mm.
And we talked about loss and regrouping after loss and how important that is. And thank you for the hair compliment. I'm blonde today, but I might be red tomorrow. So you don't know what you're going to get with me. I'm a chameleon. So I'm always changing up. And we'll get, speaking of hair, I'll give you guys the review because I took my cosmetology CEU class yesterday. If you guys didn't know, only a few people knew. So that's why I really wasn't on IG yesterday. I posted and you guys have seen yesterday's look, but I'll get to that at the end of our catch up with Arron. But we talked a lot about loss last week on the show and how difficult it was for people to maneuver without having those people in their lives. So for you, how has that helped you help other people with talking about loss?
That's such a fantastic topic. I think particularly in general, and also since 2020, I think there was a lot of loss of community, a lot of loss of self, a lot of loss of just loved ones for some people in some cases. So on the topic of loss, I think that loss, anything in your life, nothing has meaning except the meaning that you give it. So to answer your question in terms of loss, I think that loss, one, acknowledge that the loss has happened. We don't want to ignore our feelings. We don't want to ignore that we have emotions, right? And my job as what I do, there is a way in order to shift that, to change that, to not live with that if you don't want to. And I would never tell somebody or indicate to somebody that is grieving or is going through some loss, just get over it, right? Or things like that.
Oh, no.
And if they did want to move forward, I have tools to be able to help them do that. And to answer your question, I think when coping or dealing with loss, it's acknowledge that the loss is there, grieve that the loss has happened. In my case, me not knowing my father, he passed when I was a 1 year old, died, was shot in the head when I was one, never knew him. Though I thought about this the other day. I don't have any videos of him, just have a picture of him. Don't know what he sounded like, don't know what he looked like,
And
how he
y'all
moved, nothing like that.
both look just alike, mirror image. And it's the same for me and my mom. I get it everywhere I go.
Really?
Even when I call and pick up the phone, I'll have people call me and they say, "Oh my God, you sound just like your mother." I will go back and watch. She's still alive and living,
Uh,
but splitting image, he's here in a way because he lives through you. You look just like him. And I
I,
seen when you posted, because you just celebrated your birthday,
I did.
which we'll get into. Yes, and I seen the picture and I'm just like, oh my God, that must be his father because they both look just alike.
Yeah, that's my pops. I get it all the time. My mom, sometimes when I was still living with her in high school, I walk in the room and my father's name is Mark, and she'd be like, Mark? So yeah, I get it all the time. And from I know him primarily through stories, which is great. And from people's stories, he was a solid guy. He was so, and they always tell me that he'd be proud of me, which is really, really that in terms of loss, that's how you cope with it. Like through the people that knew this person, the people that really experienced him and know him, and and pour into me and say, hey, he would be really proud of you, really makes me feel good. And also just understanding that time stops for nobody, life keeps on going, and grieving when I need to grieve, feeling sad when I need to feel sad, and moving forward when I need to move forward.
Do you ever feel pressure, like, okay, you to try to fill your father's shoes from some of your family members? Like, you look just like him, splitting image. Do they ever kind of give you pressure or put pressure on you where it's just like, okay, they must think I'm my dad when we look alike, yes, but we're two different people.
That's a great question. I haven't really considered that before. I don't know if they ever have put pressure on me. I think the pressure, what I used to think, and this was unhealthy, he must have passed when he was like 20 or 19 or 21. So before I had hit those ages, I had always had an unhealthy thought like, oh, like father, like son, maybe I won't make it to 25, maybe things like that. So that was unhealthy. But the pressure on myself was, I want to go back to what I said about meaning. I remember in high school, really precocious kid, really precocious in how I thought about things. Yes, I was sad about it. And I actually remember sitting down, and I was sitting down in the apartment. I didn't have a chair. I was sitting on the floor, on a carpeted floor, doing my laptop work on the computer. And I remember asking myself, well, what am I going to make this mean? Like, okay, he's passed. I can't change that. And what I made it mean for myself was like, okay, well, if he's not here, then what that means for me is that I have to soak up and live every single piece of life that I've been granted. That's what I'm gonna make it mean. So that's the gift to me, because I understand the absence of him and what he can't enjoy, what he can't experience. So if I look just like him, this is the going into the pressure on myself. Then I want to maximize everything that life has for me. I want to maximize every opportunity that's given my way. I want to maximize how I live my life and what I appreciate. It's given me such an appreciation and gift of gratitude. And I think you have the same experience if you're not without your mother and things like that, and just gives you a greater experience and gratitude.
And I get a lot. Oh my God, you look just like your mom. You sound just like her. And even I would go back and watch some of my interviews,
Mm-hmm.
and it's certain things that I would do, hand gestures, the way I sound when I'm passionate or speaking. I said, oh my God, I think I'm really turning into my mother because she's a Libra. October 7th, I'm a Scorpio.
Mm-hmm.
October 31st. And whenever she sat her down, it was one day I was going past the restroom and I heard her in there kind of crying. And I guess it's just internal instincts. And I
Mm-hmm.
said, you okay in there? Everything all right? She was like, no, it's just my sinuses bothering me. So I said, okay. So we pick up on things. Even with me, she will pick up on it. So that's a soul connection right there.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you, for anybody who's lost a parent right then and there, you'll catch yourself like, whoa, wait, they used to do this. There's certain things my sister, because I've opened up about losing my sister back in
Mm-hmm.
2018 and having to keep her legacy going. She'll have a birthday coming up June 29th. And it's bittersweet for me because it's just like, okay, do we celebrate her legacy? Do we not? She's not here, but it's just like, yes, you celebrate her because she was a happy person.
Mm-hmm.
And she would want us to be happy, you know, living on, continuing on with our lives. I know she's watching down certain things. And I've talked about this with my guest last week, Billy Ray Valentine. And I
Mm-hmm.
asked him, do you ever get scared or certain things? Do you think that things are not going to go perfectly or not go smoothly, even when you're producing? Because he writes, producing, directs. And that was
Mm-hmm.
one of the questions that I asked him last week. And I said, do you ever find yourself feeling afraid? I know I do. And it's just like, it could be a sign from someone somewhere, a guardian angel, just like you lost your dad, I lost my sister. They're watching down on us. And these opportunities, like this year, the biggest opportunity came in my life. And I was announced as one of the most inspirational women, which is pinned. You guys have seen it. And it came out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew why, because Mick, she asked me, shout outs to Mickey Solar and Caldosha Onakaro. She asked me, she said, I would like to nominate you for one of the most inspirational women, what you're doing with your platform. And when I seen the list roll out and I seen the tag, I was waking up in the morning and my phone was going off and I was like, wait, I'm on the list of inspirational women. So to see all of these other women and myself on the list is just incredible. So that was a God-given sign for my sister to keep going, to keep flourishing. And now let's get to the class, because I know you was like, let's talk about the class. The class was amazing. What we covered yesterday was just the basics, new updates on what you need to have in your hair salon, making sure that everything is clean and in order. You know, that if state board comes in just in case, you have everything you need. Uh, he talked about my favorite thing, makeup. You guys know I love makeup. I live in it. Thanks to my makeup artist, Melanie Nalamai Bridges, for transforming me, shall I say, every day, because I don't look the same every day. I might have blue eyes tomorrow. My eyes might be brown the next day. The next day it might be red or orange. I mean, I love playing with colors. So those are some of the things that we touched on in my class. And my instructors are amazing. Shout
Mm-hmm.
outs to instructors. They were great. And it was a very small class, so it was very intimate. And my instructor, she got to move around. That was the good part about it. So I'm set and ready. I only had to take one class this year, whereas
Nice.
before, normally 9 times out of 10 for anybody who's took in cosmetology, you have to have both courses,
Mm-hmm.
and you gotta have at least 1,500 hours, if I'm not mistaken. And What else do you have to have? Now they went down. It was 6 before. Now you get 4 hours. So I got my 4 hours, and I spoke with the lady at State Board, and everything is looking great. My hours are amazing. She said, your hours are good. You only need one class. And so I went and I took that class, learned everything I need to learn, and also nails, because you guys know I sometimes do my own nails. No, I didn't do these. These are ordered by, custom made by somebody else. But yes, there are certain implements that you need to take in place when you are doing nails as well too, in your salon. You make sure that your pedicure, your foot bowl is clean. Make sure that your chairs are sanitized for the next client. All of these things was what we was discussing yesterday in my CEU
That's
class.
awesome.
So shout outs to that Hair Heroes LLC. Check them out in this if you're ever in the South Carolina area. Amazing instructors. Hair LLC. So shout outs to them. Um, but that's to sum it up what I've been doing and the blessings that have been coming to me. And the class started at 8 and then it ended at 12:30. So yes, I had a great time yesterday. It was great. I sat through the entire class and just learning new techniques, things that can be helpful to me in the beauty industry to grow and expand. So I'm excited to see what else is in store. I know we've got some amazing guests coming on, and we are booked officially all the way up until June. And
Wow.
we are almost at our 600th episode,
That's
halfway there. So
that's you.
we have been working nonstop, consistently with Style by Stevie and balancing our family life. And it's a balance. And that gears to the next question that I want to ask you. How are you able to do the podcast? And I see you go out and spend time with family. How do you find that balance in between?
It's a great question. I think it's that question that a lot of people have about this life work balance that people are trying to get into. And for me, in my experience, what it is really just prioritization and noting the difference between motivation and actually implementation, because we've all been motivated before, we've all been inspired before, and we, like you like me, understand that maybe you can be motivated and inspired for like maybe a week or 2 weeks, and you're getting up early, staying up late, doing all those things, and then you go back to a baseline if life gets lifey, or you feel like it's not going to happen for you, or that fear that you're talking about earlier. So the way I kind of manage it is really prioritizing it and understanding that my values include having my family around and really being there for my niece and nephew and really spending intentional time with my family. And also shout out to just understanding and becoming more self-aware on how different people behave and what their needs are. Like my mom is extroverted. One of my sisters, Imani, is extroverted. Me and my other youngest sister are more on the introverted side. So it's one of those things where like, I know I love you, but if I don't share that with you and you don't hear that, then how are you supposed to know? So it's understanding different communication styles. And and from me and my experience, I love my mother, I love my sister, I want them to feel appreciated, I want them to feel loved. So how willing am I to be uncomfortable sometimes for love, and how willing are they to do the same for me, in terms of like, if I'm introverted and need some space right now, they're willing to give me that space. But it's really just understanding myself first at a deep level, and then understanding others as well. So really, and also the Stevie is also really being present with the people that you love when you're with them, because it's not so much the amount of time that you spend with these people, it's the quality of the time that you're with them. So even if I'm in town with my sister for a day, that means my phone's away, that means I'm with them, that means I'm creating experiences and memories in that moment, so those moments last. That's kind of the balance that I have, because I used to just be work, 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 because I have these goals. And then other areas of my life would suffer, like relationships. So I had the strength in that area of my life, so that's kind of what. Oh, my manager just hopped on. What's up and that. So yeah, so that's the answer. I hope that's the answer and help some people.
Absolutely. And you're going to balance out because you have different personalities. I know my brother's a Pisces. I'm mistaken. My bad, you guys. I said he was a Cancer. His is February 28th, and he is a Pisces. So he's a little bit extroverted and introverted at times. He likes to try to, now that he has a family, I have a nephew now. So
Mm-hmm.
for him, he tries to figure out things on his own. But he will then call back to my mom, and it's always a good time to go back to your elders and ask them whatever you want to know. So I'm always having conversations with my mom. We have a close bond, and it's
Mm-hmm.
sacred. And not just because we share beauty tips. She gets things from me and like that. Want me to do a makeup or a hair or whatever. But we learn so much from each other.
Mm.
My mom will encourage me and I will encourage her. And it's just so crazy now in my 30 years that now in a way, I'm like her mother, but she's the woman who birthed
Mm.
me. So it's like I have to help her and remind her of certain things. You know, our parents get up there in age, they forget.
Mm.
And I'm just like, you don't remember? I told you this, or I told you that. And I have to remind her. So it's those little things that are precious. Cherish those moments and pour into who pours into you.
Yeah.
And to anyone who has a sort of introverted personality, because I have a friend and she's similar, she's like, how do you get so bold?
Mm.
Because I'll tell you guys a little story. When I was younger, because I was picked on a lot in high school.
Mm.
So there was these football players sitting over there at the table, and I don't think I've ever told the story before. But there was these football players. They were sitting over there at the table, and they were just laughing, poking fun. And my girlfriend Felicia knows the story very, very well. She's watching because I know she's watching. She was sitting right at the table with me, and I got up from that table and I went over there. And the football player was twice my size. Imagine me. I'm 5'7".
Mm.
He's 6 something. And I went over there and I just put my finger in his face and I told him about himself. So that for me was the defining moment where I'm just like, okay, you've now stood up for yourself.
Mm.
And ever since then, those high school years, he's never said anything back to me. So that's where I've learned my outspokenness and the power that is inside of me.
Mm.
Just from being introverted, I'm just like, okay, enough is enough. I'm tired of this.
Mm.
I am going to stand up for myself. And as I stood up for myself in that moment, that's when I realized that I've had the power within me.
Mm.
I looked back over my shoulder to make sure he wasn't coming after me. But yes, that moment right there defined me into the woman that you guys see today. Because when you've been picked on or pushed into the corner or just ignored or avoided all your life, it brings you out of your shell.
Mm.
It brings you out of your shell. And I must say that was the moment that molded me to the woman you guys to see today. For me to stand up and be vocal for other people who are not as vocal as I am. That is a gift and a blessing.
Yes, it is.
And there are people out there who are struggling with confidence, who are struggling to speak and say the things that we want to say. Now that we both have our platforms, Arron, it's amazing because someone that is listening, they can take from it and say, wow, she's saying something that I definitely can relate to or I want to say. And then for him, it's like, okay, he's saying something that I can touch on, that I know. And it's just like they build that self of confidence from just listening to us. So you never know who you're touching. And I was telling Bubs the God this when I was on his panel. I told Bubs this. I said, when you are the captain of that ship, you are in charge of steering that ship. When you have that microphone, you have that power. And the listeners are listening to what you're saying.
Mm.
So be careful what you put out there on your platform. If you're giving bad advice, people are going to take that advice. So make sure the message is powerful. Make sure that the message is a good message that people can relate to and that can encourage them. Don't put out a bad message. And even with me having this platform, I have to be careful what I put out because now I'm just like this role model. And yes, you have your critiques here and there, but my thing is this: you keep going, you keep flourishing. You don't let those things discourage you. To the people who are kind of introverted out there and just want to find their voice, it takes time. Just like with building confidence, a lot of people think that confidence you can just catch it, you can get it in a day. No, for me, it was an overnight process.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely was, because I had to discover who I was. And I discovered who I was at the age of 13 years old. It'll never change. I've always talked about it before.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, at 13, that's when I discovered who I was. And I'll never forget the conversation that I've had with my mom. My mom was like, I love you. I'll accept you. I appreciate you for who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the moment right there. Another life-defining moment. So those are just bits and pieces of things that I remember from my childhood up until now in my adult years, 30. And what's so crazy is the people who picked on me and bullied me, they're now married, they got kids, they're in relationships. And when I see them or they run into me and they're just like, oh my God, you've changed so much. I'm like, I'm no longer the person I was when I was in high school with you.
Yeah.
I'm a grown woman now. I'm an adult. And the things that you used to do to me, you no longer have that power or that control over me
Hmm.
because I found my voice. And my voice is powerful and has impacted the world. So now that people are listening and saying, hey, I have a voice too. Whether it's a career field that you're going for or a job position, you speak up in that boardroom. You speak up and let them know what is going on. If you are pitching something, because I was watching TED Talks, I watch a lot of TED Talks too,
Hmm.
and they was talking about, I think, a pharmaceutical company. The gentleman was trying to pitch something for a pharmaceutical company, and they told him no. And he went back and he was determined. He said, you know what? I'm not going to take that no. I'm going to take that no and I'm going to turn it into a yes. That no could mean no, not right now. That's
Hmm.
not what you want. It means go back to the drawing board and restart all over. And trust me, I know all too well about going back to the drawing board. And Aaron, I'm pretty sure for you, you can attest to it too. You being an actor, what do I need to bring to this character?
Mm.
Because we all have been told no at some point in our life. But that doesn't stop us from going after what sets our soul on fire.
Yeah.
And I know for me, I've always knew that I've always wanted to be this talk show hostess. I've always knew that I wanted to encourage people and make people feel good about themselves. And back to confidence. Confidence, it takes you a while to build up confidence because a lot of people are just not as bold as we are and outspoken as we are. And that in itself is a gift. It's a gift. And it's a God given gift because God has given us a divine purpose. And our divine purpose is to help and encourage people and make them feel good about themselves. So when you have a gift and a purpose that God has put into you, nobody can take that away from you. Nobody. I always knew I wanted to do hair. I always knew I wanted to do fashion. I always wanted to do makeup. I've always wanted to host a talk show. All of these things I put out in the universe, and you write it down. And you put these things down. You write I am. Write I am on a piece of paper, and you write all of the affirmations that you are. For me, my affirmations are I am brilliant. I am phenomenal. I am powerful. I am beautiful. I am encouraged. I am divinely protected. Write it down. I am invincible. I am unbreakable. You write those things down. Every morning when I get up in the morning, I always do a prayer and an affirmation. And one of my affirmations is I surround myself with people who uplift me. And
Mm.
family is a very important thing for me. So that's another way you can gain confidence. Go and talk to your mother because your mother will always reassure you of anything. Your mother will always be there to encourage you and uplift you along the way as well too. So that's who you need to help you build your confidence. Your mom. Your moms know everything. Trust me. I remember one time I got dipping in my mom's. At the time, it was Mary Kay, which I don't even think people really use. And that's when I started discovering makeup.
Hmm.
My mom knows I went in her makeup when I was younger. And that's when I started experimenting and finding out who I was. And my mom was like, "Did you go?" Yeah, because it's like they set up a booby trap for you. They parents know,
Mm.
and my dad doesn't. He's in the military, so.
Mm.
But my mom, she set this booby trap up, and she knows while she was at work that I went in her makeup, and I
Mm.
was at time, you're too young to wear makeup, you can't wear makeup, but she knows I went in her makeup. Parents know everything. You can't hide it from them. You can't. So if you need that how can I say it? If you need that confidence or booster, your mom, your parents will always be there. My grandmother, I am surrounded by powerful Black women, my aunts, my grandmother. And I think I channel all of them when I host this platform because I'm like, okay, my aunt is one of my aunts, she's very outspoken, very vocal.
Mm.
She's kind of sassy. And that's kind of where I get it from her as well too. My aunt, my mom's sister, and then one of my aunts is very business savvy. She knows how to organize and get things together. One of my aunts, another one, she college graduate, uh, smart, intelligent, right on it. Yeah, all three of them. So I think I embody all of these women, and the wisdom comes from my grandmother because my grandmother is my rock, and I'm
Nice.
thankful to still have her. So I'm surrounded by powerful Black women, and you guys see that when you watch this platform. Like, wow, she must have a lot of. Yeah, my mom is the main one. You guys call me queen. I take it as a compliment, and I'm honored by it. But my mom is the real queen. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for her. And I don't know how many times I would have been out of here where I want to be just out of here, where, mentally, where you just out, mentally out. My mom is the reason why I'm surviving and I'm still here 30 years of life, still living years later.
It's
My
beautiful.
mom is the reason because that woman has encouraged me and prayed for me. And when you have somebody like that in your life, that'll give you the most confidence to the introverts out there that you need. And that can be impactful as well too. So I hope you guys find out who you are. Self-reflect. There's nothing wrong with self-reflection, and that's the next part of the conversation that I wanted to touch on, Arron, because you do a lot of reels, and I watch your reels, and I'm just like, it starts off at the sky, and then you put the camera on you, and this is like, okay, what's on your mind?
Mhm.
And in a way, I said, wow, this must be his self-reflection and trying to get other people to self-reflect. So what do you think about self-reflecting? And it was an actress, Jackie Harry. She says before she prepares for getting in character for a scene, she says, I like to be still. She would sit in her dressing room and she would look in the mirror and she'd just be still and she'd take it all in. And I think a lot of people, we need to practice the art of stillness. I know for me, first thing before I pick up my phone, yes, I give you guys the morning. Hi, fashion dolls. Good morning, family, friends, or whatever. But for me, I take the time and I do my affirmations, devotion, and I talk to God. That's my routine every morning when I get up. So, for you, how do you self reflect, or what tips can you give to people on self reflect?
It's a great question. Yeah, the reels, part of it is, some of it is really reflecting on my journey, and then a lot of it sometimes is really what I'm observing, either in clients or what I feel like would actually help people. So sometimes it's self-reflection. Other times it's really others focus. It's really focused on how I can help people get further faster. For myself, it's journaling is something that I just started recently getting into. So journaling those things, there's so self-reflecting, I just did that a lot on the beach during my birthday weekend, just self-reflecting in terms of reassessing what is it. I think the most important thing for anybody to do in their life is to really get clear on their values. And what I mean by values is, what do you value enough in terms of who you are? And what I mean by that is, maybe you're somebody who values your health. Okay, well, if you value your health, are you putting your achievement above your health? That's going to show you what you really value, which is your achievement rather than your health. Are you really getting clear on what your values are, writing that down? And if you don't know how to do that, what I strongly recommend is, who is somebody that maybe for your audience, like Miss Stevie, maybe you really admire Miss Stevie, her outspokenness or her boldness or who she is in her platform. If you had to narrow that down into one adjective, what would you call that for yourself? What do you think that value is? So she's somebody who is inspirational, or whatever it is, or an encourager, as you said, for one, or what was the one you said? You said invincible. So invincible, right? Whatever that is for you, you write that down. That's what you value. Okay, well, that's what you value. What would that mean for me, whoever this is that's listening? Oh, well, that means XYZ. Okay, well, if I was living my life in accordance to that, what would that look like? You kind of go from there. So some other ways I self-reflect, I'm really in the gym. So sometimes that's kind of like a therapy or a reflection for me. I enjoy taking care of my body, having that outlet as well. How else do I self-reflect? By surrounding myself with self-reflectors, surrounding myself with people are that are where I want to be in life, or have a certain level of expertise that I know that I'm weak in. And what I mean by that is, we all have different strengths, we all have different weaknesses, we all have different gifts, we all have different talents. If you are an expert at fashion, then it would behoove me, or anybody else that wanted to be good at fashion, to speak to you, because you have an expertise on that. Now, there's a lot of different fashion people. So for your audience, they need to determine, okay, well, Miss Stevie, I like her boldness. I like her invincibility. That's who my person is. That's who I want to listen to. So that's kind of how you find that. So just reflecting on that, understanding what you value, particularly now, I think with social media and all these different distractions that people can have, it's going to be more important, I think, to really be clear on who you are and finding your community and finding the people that you really connect with. And when I say connect, it means like really connect with, where you feel great about yourself, like you said, and surround yourself with people that uplift, encourage you, and also are real with you if you need to be real. Like if you going off the rails a little bit, somebody who's going to be like, hey, you need to chill here. You need to, somebody who's going to kind of keep you level. So that's what I found.
In other words, your vibe attracts your tribe, ladies and gentlemen. And shout outs to Marcos Luis, One Mike Night podcast. He says health before wealth. That is important. That is very, very key and important. A lot of people, you've got into journaling. I talk about writing all the time. I'm always writing down information. And there's another actor, Rico King. I don't know if you follow him, but he has a board of like all of these affirmations. He put them on sticky notes. And I have my vision board. So I put all of my little affirmations every morning on my vision board. And each and every day I take one off. And that's my final thought of the day that I give to you guys. So I look at that and I say, how am I feeling today? Do I feel like encouraging? Do I feel like manifesting? All of these things run through your mind. So Marcos, I texted him over the weekend. But all of these things take into consideration. A lot of people reflect in self differently. For me, how do I self reflect? I write, I do affirmations, I talk to God. Those are some of the things that I do. And also a little retail therapy doesn't work. It works for me very, very well. It works very well for me. So when I look at a lot of color does something to me too. That's another way of self-awareness. Colors bring different moods to me. Yellow means happiness. And the reason why I chose purple and blue, I'm like, why is everything with her purple and blue this season? Purple represents royalty. And at one point in time, I was like, yeah, I don't feel it. But now I feel it. I feel the love that people are giving me. I feel like I am now getting my flowers long. Whereas before, I was just like, okay, we're going to do this. Season 17, we was just like, okay. I was kind of like, yeah, I'll have to let some people go. Whereas now, I don't have any regrets. I'm 30 years old. Me and Arron, I think we're both in our 30s. And listen, this is the time for you to become more aware of who you are. When you hit 30, it's like a light bulb goes off. It's like a different aspect in life. You see a different outlook on things. And I'm just like, if people don't see things that are supposed to be right, that I'm speaking out on, I can no longer have them in my circle. They're not going to serve me any purpose. So I've learned to let those people go and no longer hold on to me. And it's painful that you have to let these people go, but I have no regrets. I don't apologize for letting these people go. I don't, because they no longer serve me a purpose. And what does the quote say? People come in your life for a reason and a season. And the ones that have stuck with me faithfully since I first started this platform in 2014, is right after high school was when I started with this platform. And it was not called Style by Stevie. It was called Weekdays Topics, every day at 11 o'clock. It wasn't at 4 p.m. So we would just cover celebrity, pop culture, things like that. And then we just transitioned on and started doing the interviews. That came later on now. But to see the growth from when I first started to now 30 years of living is very, very telling, because so much has changed, not just the looks, but my attitude and my outlook on the world. Whereas before I had a certain cockiness and arrogance. And that's where the self-reflection and the humbleness comes in. When you sit down and you reflect like, wow, maybe I could have delivered that a little bit better. And trust me, I've had those conversations. It's okay to talk to yourself and have talks with yourself. And sit down and say, wow, this delivery could have been a whole lot better than now. So you see, you go back in time. And I watch some of my past interviews and I'm just like, oh my God, my delivery. Or even when I'm hosting with a co-host and we'd be talking on topics, and Jay Evans, I know you watching, my love. Shout outs to him. Make sure you guys go and check out his platform. Jay Evans would see me. Jay Evans and K Tooks will tell you I will be the first one to go in. And they're just like, oh my God, we gotta wheel her back in here. She's going off the hinges because I'd be so passionate about touching on the topics, which I kind of still do, but I do it in a way where it's very, how can I say it, nuanced. But you still get that sass and that Miss Stevie that you love, that people love. So the thing for me is I've had to change a lot of things, and that comes from self-reflection. Just my outlooks on the world and my outlook on certain things that go on. So that's the sense of self-awareness too, making sure that you are in tune with yourself. And like Marcos said, life experiences can humble you too. And trust me, it's one point where I almost lost this platform. And I said, you know what? I got to do something a little bit different. And I started to remodel. And sometimes you have to go back to the drawing board and start over. And there is nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with starting over. 18 seasons in from doing this platform, starting all the way in 2014, right after high school, and to see where we're at now, it's just incredible. And that's from years of growth. Because believe me, there have been times when some of my guests, the vibe, I'm being completely honest and transparent right now with you. There have been times when some of the interview guests was here, and people will tell you the energy. I'm big on energy. I'm big on vibes and positive energy. And some of the guests were just like, well, what can I do to loosen the guests up? I don't want to give a dead interview.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a lively, bubbly person. I'm fun. I'm outgoing. And I try to, what you see on camera, on live is what you're going to get outside of that. And shout outs to Ricky Taylor. He vouched for me on that because that is true. What you see on camera is what you're going to get outside of the show. And I have so many people that can vouch for that because I'm a fun, outgoing person. I love to goof around and have a good time. And my thing is this. Never lose sight of who you are, because just as big as you've gotten, you can be humbled. And I've been humbled. I've been tapped on my shoulder and told, hey, sis, your delivery could have been a little bit better. You could have done this a little bit differently. You could have changed this up. And I'm not beyond approach. I've had people do that. So I've accepted the constructive criticism. And now to be where I'm at, that's also a form of self-awareness too. And like the outspoken one said, he's coming on the show sometime later this month or in the next month or in the spring, later in the summer. One of them, we have so many amazing guests that are coming on, y'all. So many interviews. But that was the moment right there. Because I've had people tap me on the shoulder and say, you could have done this a little bit differently. And I'm like, all right. Because at one point, you think you're cocky and you're arrogant. You think you know it all. And it's just like, okay, now I need to humble myself. I don't know everything. And we don't have the answers to everything. So to anybody out there who's feeling a sense of introvertedness, that's also a way to self-reflect as well. Taking the moment. And that applies to growth and who you are. And I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be the woman I am today if it wasn't for me taking these critiques and this criticism from people. Constructive criticism, not, bad. Because I haven't really had any bad reviews or anything about my platform. Everybody loves. You guys are focused. Y'all are engaged. Whether it's to see what I'm wearing, whether it's to see the guests that come on, y'all are focused. Y'all are engaged. And y'all will get in those comments and y'all will let me know, like, this was outstanding. We needed this. And I'm pretty sure Arron gets it as well, too, on his platform. Thank you for this.
Yeah.
Thank you for interviewing this person. And I know I got it a lot when I did my interview with one of my guests last week, and that was DeWitt. DeWitt, we talked about ageism, which is a thing in the entertainment business. And we know that when you reach a certain age, because I started off right after high school, I think late teens, heading into my 20s, and I thought I knew it all.
Mm-hmm.
I was very cocky, I was very arrogant, and I'd be ready to fight and curse somebody out. And that's one thing y'all don't know about me behind the scenes. When I'm very mad, it takes me a while to get there. Yes, I curse a little bit behind the scenes because I like things to be perfect, and y'all understand that. But yeah. Let me read some of you guys' comments. We like your platform because it opens up many types of conversations in a safe space. Trusting your process takes guts. That's why walking on faith is a big deal. Yeah, I didn't think this season 18, this season right here, was not going to be a success. I was like, people gonna lose interest in me. They ain't gonna watch Style by Stevie. They not gonna watch my interviews. But y'all came back. We came back January 2nd of this year,
Mhm.
and we came back in swinging like we never left. And y'all stood with me faithfully, whether it's to see the fashion, whether it's to see the guests, whether it's to see the conversation. You guys were engaged. And I was like, wow, I was overwhelmed. I did not think people were going to, for me, it's not about the views. It's about my message impacting the world. And the viewership is amazing. You guys go back and you watch and you engage in the comments and you engage in the conversation and you say, thank you for for having this conversation. Because we talk a lot about mental health. We talk a lot about ageism. We talk a lot about some of the heavy things, uh, as we touched on earlier with Aaron. We talked about loss. And I know there's a lot of people, heartbreak. We talked about that. I remember we did my interview with Nathaniel Anderson the previous week before, and we touched on something that I really wouldn't touch on, and that's dating and relationships and recuperating after heartbreak. And I said, ooh, well, someone in the comments said something about how do you recover from a breakup? And the question wasn't really for me. Well, it kind of was because she said that it was for me and the thing. And Nathaniel gave his 2 cents, and we touched on dating, heartbreak. Let's touch on that because I know that's something that you get a lot of too, Aaron, is heartbreak. How are ways that people can heal from heartbreak after loss or just a breakup? Because I know it can be a painful experience for a lot of people recuperating, and then especially if you're going through a divorce or something, you never know what a person could be going through unless you sit down and you have a conversation with them and they'll really pour it all out to you. But that's because they trust you. And that's one of the ways that you can get it off. Talk about it. There's different ways to recuperate from heartache. So Aaron, what would you say to people who have suffered from a broken heart or suffering loss?
Yeah, I think we also saw a lot of that in 2020 as well, where
Hmm.
in 2020 people were spending more time with their people from being inside and noticed that they didn't have things in common, or they would argue more because they're in each other's space. So it goes into this kind of lost less never, right? And this idea that if you lose somebody, that it's always going to be this way, it's pervasive and you can't change it. That's what causes people to be depressed. That's what causes people to think that this why me, why can't things change, that kind of thinking, right? So I think it goes into grieving somebody who's transitioned. It's really just giving yourself the space and the time to grieve that this is what happened, feeling sad about it, allowing yourself to heal healthfully, and then also understanding what it is that you want, learning from it, learning from the heartbreak, assessing where you for some. I think it's important to take extreme accountability and extreme ownership of how you contributed to the heartbreak, how you contributed to the relationship, because the one relationship that we can't get away from is our relationship with ourselves, first and foremost, right? And if you've gone through certain many different breakups, what was the common equation? It was you, right? So if there's some area in which you can grow, I think that can help you get over the heartbreak and grow from the heartbreak, because it goes into what you're saying earlier, people in your life for a reason, a season, and or a lifetime. So the one person that you have for a lifetime is yourself. So if you are going through a heartbreak, it doesn't necessarily mean that things won't happen eventually if that's for you. And I think if you're understanding if it is for you, to understand what is for you by writing down what you need, by journaling, by self-assessing, by healing healthfully, by grieving the relationship, and then also moving forward by focusing on what it is that you want. What do you want out of your next relationship? How have you grown from your relationship? What is it that you want to move forward into and have in a partner? And also being real with yourself in terms of if you want a partner. Some people just want to date. Some people just want to do what they do. I think it's important to be intentional about what it is that you want. For myself, I think it's important to be real with people about what your intentions are. Are we being
Oh yeah.
intentional, or are we just whatever it is, right? Right. So I think that's important so that other people don't get hurt and traumatized from your heartbreak. You know what I mean?
And one Mike Knight says it goes back to what I said about self-awareness. I'm gonna read some comments. Diamond Hoodgrown says you have to take your soul to the laundromat. Cry if you have to. You have to take a step after God gives you two more. Now I'm going to pin that. That is nothing but the truth. That is nothing but the truth because you have to do that soul. It goes back to what Aaron just said about soul searching and being in tune with yourself, recuperating after heartbreak for anybody who's just gotten out of a breakup or any bad relationship. It can be difficult for a lot of people because you love this person so much. It's just like I can't believe it's officially over. I can't believe it's officially over. It doesn't hit you real when you were just there alone. And it's up to you to reclaim your power back, not to allow this person who you were in a relationship with to have that power over you. You have to sometime, and we're not going to tell the person they have to move on. They have to recover from heartbreak. It's going to take a person a while. They do it on their own time. You can't tell someone, oh, you need to get over it. It goes back to what Aaron said earlier, which is you need to get over it. It doesn't work that way. Doesn't work that way. I've seen so many people be down and out over the person that they were madly in love with. And I was a fool for love. We all been a fool for love. But the thing is, you have to love yourself first before you can think about giving your heart to the next person. And some people just jump right back in the saddle and say, hey, I'm in my next relationship, I'm in my next phase. But no, you have to love yourself first. Take that time and reflect and pour into you before you can give your heart to anybody else. I'm single and looking. And I was just telling one of my guy friends today, I said, I'm alone, I'm lonely. I want someone to spend my life with. I wouldn't mind having a man in my life. But the thing about it is my focus right now is Style by Stevie. That's been my main focus. But I would love to have someone special in my life. I've dated here and there, but it's because I've taken the time to love on myself. That'll come eventually later on down the line. And he basically told me, don't rush it. Let love come to you. And that's sometimes the mistake that we make. We rush it and we jump into it too soon. And let everybody know what your expectations are before you get into any relationship with anybody. Let everybody know when you're sitting down. And it goes back to what I said when I did my conversation with Nathaniel last week. There's different stages to a relationship. You have the sophomore phase. You have let me go back. You have the freshman phase. You got the sophomore phase. You got the junior phase. And then you've got that senior phase. Seniors, when you're about to graduate, you're about to go to college. But that's when you know it's really real. When you commit to that person. And it was someone that said something earlier. A lot of people sometimes are afraid of committing. But it's just like, I don't think people are afraid. I just think people have a sense of awareness. They know what they
Can
want.
I can I
They're not.
can I about that?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, this there might be really real commitment issues. I think what the world.
Yeah.
Oh, I think there's a couple things with this. Just my thoughts. I don't know if there's any truth or whatever. It's just what I speculate. I think the culture is kind of promoting this kind of uh, this. It's contributing to people being lonely and unconnected, right? I think what is the bigger fear behind commitment is the fear of being hurt. I think that's
Oh,
what's preventing people from committing. Because if
wait,
I
wait, wait.
commit, what does that mean? It means I'm committing my heart to you, and I can't. Maybe I don't trust you to do the same for me. So I'm gonna either hurt you or I'm going to remove myself from this before you have the opportunity to do that. I'm not gonna lay my soul and my heart bare to you because you haven't proven or earned the trust of what it is. That's what my speculation is. I think that it's one of those toxic 10, the fear of rejection, fear of being hurt, fear of being abandoned, things like that, that is kind of preventing people from. And it's also beliefs. It goes into your beliefs. If you have certain beliefs about love or beliefs about all men are this or all women are this, then it's no different than if I say, like right now I'm looking at your screen, right? And I'm looking at your background right here.
Yeah.
So can you look around your room and tell me everything that is blue? Tell me everything that's blue in your room right now. And I'm asking you, everything that's blue. And for anybody that's watching, look around, you look for everything that's blue. Clock everything that's blue. Clock everything that's blue. I'm going to do the same thing. Blue, 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 blue. Look for blue. Now I want everybody to close your eyes. Close your eyes. And I want you to tell me everything that was red without opening your eyes.
Okay.
Right?
Without opening my
Yeah.
eyes or opening my eyes?
Without opening your eyes. So you're looking for
Okay.
blue, but now your eyes are closed. And I'm asking you to look for everything that's black. Right? So it's not that the people that you're looking for in terms of what you want in a love don't exist. It's that your beliefs shape your perspective and your beliefs shape your perception. So if this person was to exist around you, they might walk past you without you even realizing. And I think a lot of people miss on the opportunities to love or the opportunities that they want because they're not looking for that, or they haven't healed enough themselves,
Mm.
the kind of healthy relationship that they want. Or if they're unhealthy and unhealed, maybe they want that's not what they want. And for the people that do want kind of a real relationship, or like want somebody who you feel connected to, in my experience with coaching people, that is huge. People are feeling lonely and people are feeling disconnected. As connected as we are on social media, people are seeking community. People are seeking real connection, and they're hiding behind this veil of I don't need nobody, screw everybody, all men are this, all women are that. And it's proliferated in the rap, it's proliferated in hip hop, it's proliferated in this culture, and it's going to lead a lot of people to being really lonely and bitter, I think. So it's important to understand, are you going to determine for yourself what you want for yourself and dare to make life your canvas and dare to make it beautiful? Or are you going to let somebody else who poured a lot of advertising money into shaping your thoughts determine that?
Absolutely. And my thing is this: everybody needs somebody, and the person that you're looking for, your soulmate, could, like you just said, could be walking right past you. You never know. You never know what God has in store for you or what could be put there for you. And you just got to be patient and let love come to you. Let love come to you. Don't rush it. And I've made the mistake. I've rushed and tried to find love, find a perfect guy. And I'm just like, everybody has a flaw. Every one of us have a flaw. We're not perfect. So whatever guy you get, whoever you end up with, you make sure that this is what you lead with your heart. Lead with your heart and your gut instinct as well too. It can't lead you wrong. So make sure this is what you want to do if you want to be in a committed relationship. And a lot of people, like you said, are afraid of commitment. So lead with your heart. Let your heart tell you, okay, I'm ready.
And
Lead with your.
if I could say too, you mentioned something earlier about expectations. What I found in my experience is
Oh
that
yeah.
you can't manage people. Nobody can ever manage people. You can't tell a person how to be, how to think, or anything like that. What you can manage is your expectations. And I think what leads to a lot of resentment, and I heard this from a mentor of mine the other day, is how are your boundaries even existing if they haven't been communicated? And I think a lot of us,
Oh
because we have our own experiences, we think that what we're communicating as a boundary is not is clear, but it's not for the other person. And what that leads to is a lot of resentment. So, a question I was just asked yesterday was like, who do you think benefits more, givers or takers in this world? And I'm asking you, Miss Stevie, who do you think benefits more in this world, givers or takers?
I would have to say takers, because givers, you could be generous and give everything, and you're not getting recognized. You
Right.
you put out what is given to you in the universe.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, it would have to be takers. Yeah, I mean, you done got it now.
It's actually neither. It's
Oh,
actually not. It's
that,
others.
that the comments are saying givers too.
Um,
Marcos, Diamond, they're saying
oh
givers.
shoot, I've been missing all these comments. Or that, yeah. So that was my answer to Diamond Hood Grown. It was I had said givers. I thought that givers receive more too. And what he said is really it's neither. Because if givers give and give, with even if
Mm-hmm.
they have no expectation of return, takers are going to take. And at some point, relationships are reciprocal. So it's really about others. It's about what he said is the way he said it was so profound. It's like it's about communicating your boundaries. If something that you said hurt me, it's about being able to say, hey, I noticed that when you did this or did this hurt me. What's your perspective on that? Now you're inviting somebody into understanding what your boundaries
Mm.
are, how you feel about something. So the real challenge is communication is the lifeblood of any relationship. It's the lifeblood of any organization, right? So the key is to help people communicate more effectively and understand and have the emotional awareness of like, hey, when you said that, I wasn't really feeling that, or when you did this, I felt this way. And then getting on the same team with somebody who wants to communicate, who wants to not look at that person as being the problem, but here we have a challenge and we're both on the same team to kind of look at this objectively to say, hey, how can we get better? Or if this boundary is something that you're not okay with, then how do we part? But it's important about understanding, honoring yourself first, your needs, understanding what your needs are, and then being able to communicate that with your partner. And your partner is not always going to have, they're going to fall short. We're all human. It's does this person on a more consistent basis have the want or the desire to understand you in a way that you need to be understood, and vice versa, right? So there's a balance. There's sometimes there's communication and dancing with these boundaries that you guys have in a standard, essentially. So that's what I've experienced. That's what I've learned.
All right, we are going to take some questions for Arron or myself. Fashion Dolls, do you guys have any questions? And I'm glad that you all are enjoying this conversation. And I love what Diamond said. Diamond says, I say givers because they get grace. Have a relationship check-in regularly with each other. Absolutely. Communication is the key. And Marcos, I'm so thankful to have Marcos, K-Tubes, and my friends in my life. Even though I don't have someone special, I have friends and people who care about me and they check on me and they text on me. That's the best. That's a good relationship. So, my dream man, my perfect dream man is gonna come to me. And in due time. There's no rush. You know, time can wait. So be patient and let love come to you and lead with your heart. Don't go out there looking for it. Let it come to you. It could be in the least expected places. It could be walking right past you. You never even know. God puts people in your life. Trust me. And I have some great people in my life. And I'm so thankful to have them. I can't say it enough because I am. It's a blessing. So you keep those people in your life. They're there to uplift you and encourage you in that department where you do not have a significant other or someone special. And I'm so thankful to be surrounded by love and people who care and encourage me and uplift me and make me feel good. Because today I was not feeling it. Earlier I was not. I was depressed. I'm like, I'm single. I'm lonely. What I'm gonna do, Lord? Everybody else in relationships and stuff, and I'm just like, my friend. He told me. He said, "Let love come to you. Don't rush it. You're successful. You got everything you need. It'll all work out in due time,
Mm-hmm.
and it will.
What
It
do you
will
want, Miss Stevie? What do you
in due
want?
time. What do I want? I, what do I want? You can love yourself so much. The hummingbirds will let you know you're beautiful. Yes. And my mother, my mother always encourages me. You're beautiful. She uplifts me. So that's the blessing that I have to have my mom uplift and pour into me and my family and friends pour into me and show me love. But back to Aaron's question, what do I want? In a relationship or just in life?
So either or, we covered a lot of topics today. It's been a great call. For you,
Okay.
what do you feel like this is about, Miss Stevie? This is about you. It could be a relationship, it could be your career, it could be whatever. What is it that you find that you want to shift most in your life right now?
I would have to say a relationship.
Yeah.
I think it's time. At 30, it's like, okay, mellow down. When you're in your 20s, you explore, you date, you do different things. And 30s, you still can date as well too. But for me, a relationship, a good man who loves and understands me, who cherishes me, who pours into me, who gives me that applause, uplifting and encouraging. Those are
Fantastic.
the things that I would look forward to. Yeah.
Fan- and,
And we pour into each other,
and
right?
fantastic. I don't know if you guys notice. I want you guys to notice how when Miss Stevie was talking about what she didn't have, she was kind of like depressed and down here. And how do you guys type of one in the chat? If you notice that when she was talking about what she wanted, she seemed more lively. She seemed more like she could manifest that thing right now. Type one if you guys noticed that and it wasn't just me. It takes a nuanced eye, but that's what I noticed, right? So this is kind of what I do. if you have a piece of paper, I encourage you to write this down because it might help you, Stevie, and anybody else watching this even after the call. We all want a result in our life. We all want something in our lives. It's different results for everybody. For you, you want a relationship. For everybody else on the call, I want you guys to start thinking about what you want. It might be more money. It might be better emotional relationship with yourself. It might be career advancement, whatever it is. This is how all 8 billion people on the planet operate. So I want to share this with you guys. Okay. You'll never be able to, after this, ask yourself why you did something, why you did not do anything, something. You'll understand because it comes down to this principle. At the bottom of the page, I want you to write the word result. That's what you want. You want a result. For Miss Stevie, it's you want a relationship with somebody who understands you. And the first thing you said was who's there for me, who supports me, who applauses, that kind of stuff. That's what you want. What do you think causes results? And I'm asking you because I want you to be a participant in your own rescue. What is it that what do you think causes results?
I would have to say myself, you have to make it happen within you. So you cause the results.
That's true. And would you say that there's some people who get help sometimes? So is it safe to say that sometimes people get help and get the results?
Absolutely. And the thing is, you're never too, you don't get to, how can I say it? What's the word that I'm looking for? You don't get to, Lord, you don't get too independent where it's just like, okay, I don't need nobody's help. No, there's people there to help you. And I do believe that people help.
Yeah. And also I want to say this just is profound. It just came to me. Because that's very real for a lot of people too. They feel like nobody loves me, nobody cares. They've given up on love. They become very jaded. And if you go back, there's nobody that's breathing, living today that at one point did not have somebody love them. Because at one point, would you agree, type one, if you agree, that you were so vulnerable when you were an infant that somebody had to care more about you than you did yourself? Even if your relationship with your parents now are messed up, at some point, they had to care enough about you to really get to where you want to be. So that is something important that you can come back to, even if you feel like nobody loves you and things like that, because that self-love is important. Now, what causes the result, I want everybody to write this down. Above results is activity slash action, or action slash activity. So this goes into what you're saying. Like it's up to me. I have to take action. But this is normal. Everybody knows that you have to take different action or activity to get results, right? Right. So type of one in the chat, if that makes sense. So you need to take the action. Now, if I'm going to the gym, I can't go to the gym one time and expect abs, right? This is all stuff that you might intellectually understand, and we're going into some deeper things as well. So the action might you do once, it's not going to give you the result that you want. You have to take the activity consistently until you surpass your goal, right? So it's like a space shuttle launching off. In the beginning, it's hard. It's, oh my God, it's hard. There's no men, there's no women out here. Everybody's messing up everybody. And eventually you get, and it's just flowing. It's in orbit. That comes from the activity. Now that makes sense. It's like, Arron, yeah, sure. You take a different action, you take different activity, you get the results. I know this. What are you telling me that's new? What do you think causes activity, Miss Stevie? What do you think causes or does not cause action slash activity?
Before I answer your question, I'm sorry, Diamond.
What happened?
Yes. She said her mom passed away in her arms, so it hits hard. So who I run to? God, and He puts the strength in me all the time.
That's beautiful.
Every day, all the time. Now, you were asking me who causes the action?
What causes action or lack of action or activity?
It's you. It's within you. You get up and you do something.
But what causes?
You don't sit there.
Because a lot of people in the world, would you say, like, yeah, I got to get up early and stay up late, but they still don't do it.
Right.
So what do you think causes that or doesn't cause that?
It could be a number of things. I would say your mood. If you're not getting up, your emotion. You're not into it. If your heart is, it is about being disciplined. And in a way, it's about procrastination. You don't put off today what you can do tomorrow. And I've always been taught that. Even my beauty school instructor taught me that. She said, why put off the day what you can do tomorrow? I said, oh no, I'll do it tomorrow. Not me, but I was talking about some of the other people in my class. But yes, it goes back to what Diamond said, which is being disciplined. If you say no, I don't want to do anything.
Yeah. What causes discipline though? Because I'd say that 99% of the world knows they have to be disciplined, but they still don't do it. It goes into what you're saying, which is mood. What is mood? It's emotion slash feeling. That's
Oh
what's
yeah.
above action slash activity. So how many of you have ever felt like, I don't feel like going here. I don't feel like working out. I don't feel like getting up early. I don't feel like, I don't feel like, I don't feel like, I don't feel like, right?
I'm one of them.
Yeah.
There have been mornings where I did not want to get up and early and get prepared for hair and makeup and then get ready for the to do the interview and stuff. There have been and do yeah Y and Z. There have been mornings when I did not want to get up and do this
Yeah.
platform, but I said I cannot let my supporters down. They
That's
are
exactly
counting on
right.
me. They are looking for something to be encouraged by. So it's in me. The choice was mine to get up. You chose to get up this morning.
Uh-huh.
Everybody, we have a choice to get up and wake up, eyes wide open, and do what we need to do throughout the day.
And I,
So, I, and I wouldn't change it for the world. I love getting up. I love what I do.
yeah. And I even saw that and how you presented that. Like, I'm going to do this. You were in it. You're moving.
Right.
You felt that. And I'm sure the audience felt it as well. For, for what causes emotion, I want you to write this above emotion slash feeling is thought. That's what
Mm.
causes what you feel. That's what causes the action or activity that you do or do not take. That's what causes the results that you have. Now, an average speaker, an average kind of talker would just leave you at thought. We've all heard that before. You think something, you feel a certain way, you feel that, and you do that. The thing that people don't really answer or give you a perspective on is, what do you think causes thought, Miss Stevie? Where do thoughts come from?
Mm. Come from. For
Because how
me,
many of you have had an intrusive thought? They come
ooh,
from you, but what causes the thought? Where do thoughts
what
come from?
caused it?
What are thoughts?
And even just sitting down, reflecting, memories. Memories can cause thoughts.
Memories, great. What do you think causes memories? Where do memories come from?
It can be just certain things that you do. You sit down and you find yourself going back to what could have been with whoever if you are recovering from heartbreak.
That's
And
great.
that's it for me.
That's great. And that's something called, that's a significant emotional event, is what we call that. Advertisers do this very well. It's a significant emotional event. So for what causes thought is, I want you to write at the top of your page is C/say. C/say, SEE/SAY. Our brains are nothing more than image and sound making machines, right? Internally or externally. So the internal part is what you're talking about, the memories. Oh, I see a red light. I'm going to stop at this red light. That's an internal. You don't have to think about that. That just automatically happens. Would you all agree? There's certain things that are so conditioned in you that you don't even have to think about it. You just stop at a red light. You just don't have to think about putting on your makeup and, oh, let me apply, I don't know what it's called, the mascara or whatever. I need to do it here, or my T-zone and all this kind of stuff. You know all that stuff, right? You don't have to think about that. You're not saying, I'm putting my stuff on my T-zone right now. You just do it, right? It's automatic. What causes C/say is what you see and say causes the thoughts that you have, which causes the emotions that you feel, which causes what you do or do not do, which causes the results that you have. So if there's a lot that goes into this, but I want to read this with the audience, because I think never again will you be able to ask yourself why I did this or why I did not. There's other things we can get into in terms of like values, but as a base level, that's how all 8 billion people operate. They say something in their mind, internally or externally. It causes a thought, it causes an emotion, it causes what they do or do not do, and then they get the results that they want. So if you want a different result, what I help people do is I help them default to the best by shifting, observing something within that system, and helping them get nuanced results through what it is that they want. Because it's not my job to tell people what they want. As long as it's not breaking man's laws or God's laws, I believe that you can have that thing, right? Let's just help you get the best out of yourself so you can default to your best, so that you can get over the thieves of your dreams, so you can break the toxic tent and break the shackles of whatever it is that's holding you back. So for you, let's listen to some love to Miss Stevie finding her partner, her person, and just really changing the C/say in her so that she can really find that person that she wants to, right? And for everybody else watching as well, I hope that this adds some value to your lives and helps you guys really move forward in the ways that you want to move forward.
Yeah, Yes, this was a very refreshing conversation. You guys got to see a more open side of me. I told you guys this season I wanted to be more transparent. Faith without work is definitely not moving. It's dead. Right. Absolutely. I agree. And again, it goes back to me having those conversations with God. You put it out there in the universe, it's going to come to you. And I claim every bit of it. Everything that God puts out here, every opportunity, great opportunity that has been offered to me, I receive it. And it's because of my divine purpose. Didn't we talk about divine purposes earlier in the beginning of the interview? You have to make sure that this is what you want. Lead with your heart. And today's final thought comes from Mark Twain. And I'm going to let Arron give his thought, and we're going to take some questions, and then we're going to conclude this conversation, Fashionals. Stay away from those people who try to disparage your ambition. Small minds will always do that, but great minds will give you a feeling that you can become great too. So surround yourself with people who uplift you. Surround yourself with people who encourage you. Surround yourself with people who care. And yes, you're going through heartbreak, but it's going to take a while to recover. And to anybody out there telling a person that they need to just get over it, it's going to take a person a while to heal, to recover, to recuperate, to do anything after heartbreak or loss. So let that person heal. Everybody heals and mourns in their own way. There are different outlets, and there are so many outlets out here that can help you if you are mourning a loss or recuperating from heartbreak. For me, writing is one, fashion is one, color, bringing color into my life makes me happy. So these are all of the things that can help people recover and recuperate from heartbreak and loss. We covered a number of things. And yes, you guys know I'm looking for a man now. So yes, that is something that I would love to do. I would love to look for a man in the future. And not rush love, but let love come to me. And it's all gonna come. I'm getting all of my flowers. You guys have given me all of my flowers, and I receive every bit of it. And I give back to the universe as well too. So whatever's been given to me, I definitely give right back in return. And that's how we have to be. You know, karma's been put out there good to you. What you put out there is gonna come back to you times two. And I'm a firm believer of that. So make sure that you are putting out good energy and surrounding yourself with good people who care about you and who uplift you and make you feel good about yourself. You keep those people in your circle. The ones who are just there temporarily, let them go. They're just a fish in the sea. So keep going forward 100%. Arron, what piece of advice and gems, because we covered a number of things and you really made me think. I'm just like, wow, he's put me in the hot seat now, wanting to know more, wanting to get deeper. And I thank you for that because it allowed me to be more transparent with the audience. And the audience is just like, now we know what she wants.
Yep.
And yes, that's how I feel. When I'm not doing a platform, I'm just like, wow, it really wouldn't hurt to have a man here. Or it really wouldn't hurt to have, a significant other in my life, rooting me on, cheering me on. I see that. And you just feel alone sometimes, but you have friends and family that care about you. And that's all you need in the meantime. But let love come to you. But what are some advice or what are some gems that you would like to give to people before we conclude?
I think that what I would say is that the thing that you're seeking is also seeking you. One. And then dare to make life your canvas and dare to make it beautiful. That's what I always say. And what I mean by that is being an artist myself. How many of you guys had experience where like maybe you're painting something, you make a mistake, but you could paint over it. You could transform that thing to really create a beautiful masterpiece. And nobody in life is perfect. Nobody has had a trauma-free life. We all experience trauma in different ways. It's just about how do you use that to create a testimony for yourself to then, in my experience, to then help other people, right? That's what I have found it's been the greatest gift for me as in my continual growth journey and in terms of my continual reaching towards my potential is that not only do you become a shining example of what's possible to yourself and others, but you don't know who you can inspire. You don't know who on your audience list right now that didn't know that you're seeking love. Like, oh shoot, Miss Stevie is looking for love. That's something that I want too. right? And now I feel like I can do that. So the impact, the ripple effect. Now Miss Stevie finds her partner. Now somebody else finds their partner. And it's like, oh, it's because I listened to that thing or was watching Miss Stevie's thing. So you might be a ripple effect of love, and you don't even know it. You might be somebody else's Cupid. So I'd say just live life in accordance to your values. Live life in accordance to not breaking man's laws or God's laws, and surround yourself with the right people, like Miss Stevie said. That's it.
And where can everyone follow you and check out your podcast, which is amazing? We've seen the clips of you and your guest as well too.
Sure. So my Instagram is Arron as Arron Lloyd, which you can follow me straight from this video, I think. I also have a website called Arron Empowers. Arron is Arron. Empowers, EMPOWERS.com. And then the podcast is on hiatus right now, but if you're interested in listening to some of that, that is going to be at Creation Grounds. It's on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, all those different things. I think just like 62 episodes. So you can listen to that and glean some information from those guests as well. So yeah, that's me.
All right, fashion dolls, and there you have it. Arron Lloyd, ladies and gentlemen, and this was a very deep and well-needed conversation, and I hope you guys all took something away from both of us in this powerful conversation. The highlight will go up. This will be uploaded to Style by Stevie Daytime on YouTube, so make sure you guys head on over and subscribe and hit that bell so you'll be notified when new episodes are uploaded. And also, joining me tomorrow, we have actor John F. Thomas. We have another actor coming on this week. So make sure you guys tune in tomorrow at 4 with John F. Thomas. And again, like Arron said, let love come to you and surround yourself with people who love you and care for you. Keep those people in your circle. And the ones who just leave, let them leave. Match their, I know people are saying you shouldn't match people's energy, but yeah, go ahead. Do at it. Go right on ahead. Move on. Move forward. Don't let those people hold you back and keep going. And I love you all, Fashion Dolls and Arron. Always a pleasure chatting with you. Again, you are a breath of fresh air.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You are so welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, Arron Lloyd, and the replay will be up here on IGTV so you guys can go back and check it out from beginning to end. Great conversation today. And you guys take care, and I'll see y'all tomorrow. Take care, everyone.
Peace.